Welcome to Small Moments of Floral Love. For today's demonstration, I want to talk to you about roses. So in Small Moments of Floral Love, I have several demonstrations on making roses. I go from teaching you how to make a 10-minute rose, lessons on color mixing lessons, on beautiful roses. Then we go into a longer red rose and even a little small one for the beginners. And then one of my favorites is creating a black rose, and I show you how to create this black rose, and then we change the background on it. And even this beautiful yellow with gorgeous, gorgeous yellows in it. This is another demonstration. There's several demonstrations, probably more demonstrations of roses than anything in Small Moments of Floral Love. And it is the first after your foundational modules, of which there are 28. It is the first module that you'll come to on flowers. But one of the things I realize is that students get very intimidated by roses. I get intimidated by painting roses because they're, we always see them so full and kind of so lush, and they're, the good thing about them is they're, when you look at them from a variety of angles, if they're open, most of them look the same way. If they're from the side, they look, the same way. But there are different varieties of roses. There are garden roses, which are much more open. Then there are the regular roses, which I think most of us are familiar with. So in Small Moments of Floral Love, I actually have this same rose that I'm showing you now, created in white, a variety of white mixtures, and I spend some time in the foundational with all the color mixing exercises for the reds, the pinks, the oranges, the yellows that you'll use for sunflowers, purples that you'll use for irises, whites and greens for sure, and muted colors. So all of that is in the beginning. But I wanted to show you how to make a pale pink rose, and a simple rose, not a rose that is crazy with so many different layers. And so we're going to go through that today. What I use for this class, and you can use whatever materials you would like, I'm using acrylics, and I really love these Jack Richardson hardwood panels, 6x6. They're about $1.50 a piece from Dick Blick. I really like them, and I adhere them. This is one of those panels. I adhere it to another 6x6 cradled board, which really is beautiful. You just hang it up right after that. So today I want to alleviate everybody's fears as far as creating a very simple rose, and to let you know that it is possible for you to do it. So what I like to do, and what I've done throughout the course, is I will show you how to do some tracing. I've done a little light tracing on this panel right here. I've used some black tracing paper, and I just kind of put an outline of what I wanted it to look like. So I have these colors right here. So the next part that I want to share with you is I'm going to tell you the colors that I put out. But you'll see in the color mixing exercises, a lot of colors will make pink, and so many colors will make a variety of greens. So I was looking at this very, very light pink, and this is a permanent rose, which is very beautiful, and I'm going to mix it with white. So I want to go through these because I kind of, those courses where the instructor isn't telling you what colors he or she is putting in. And so you can see that is pretty darn close to what I'm looking for. I'm going to make another pile. This one is a little pinkier red, and I don't need it that dark. but I just want to make sure that I have enough color strands in here, and we will definitely talk about that. Okay, so this is a little bit darker, which is great. This is a little lighter, and I'm going to take some of this. I'm even going to make it lighter. So I'm just creating some different values of those pinks here. This being the darkest, this being the next, and then this being the next. Now, my eye seems to notice a little bit of a kind of a purpley shade in here. So I'm going to take this, and my new favorite color that's on my supply list is this muted gray, which actually looks like a plum color. And so I have really great color harmony in here because I'm mixing these all together. And so what you want is kind of down here, you want it a little bit darker, and we could always play around with that. And the other thing that I noticed here, getting more of the white, is for me, there's like a touch of yellow just to warm it up a little bit. Now this is Naples Yellow here. And just to add a little bit of warmth here, and maybe just with the white, a little Naples, a little lemon, and we'll see. Maybe it belongs, and maybe it doesn't. But again, you know, I'm interpreting the floral the way it's working for me. Kind of just get a little bit of those colors in here to mix in. So this created almost a greeny color. So speaking of green, a lot of this painting is the leaves. And so we're going to take some ultramarine, and we're going to take some cadmium yellow, and we're going to mix that. And you can see that's a very greeny green. And so this has a more of a darker tint to it. So let's see if I add more of the ultramarine. We don't have to get it exactly. Now, if I want to bring down this greeny color, I'm going to come in with, even though red isn't on here, this pink was close enough. And that's going to, as my friend Melanie says, knock back the color a little bit. So you can see that it did. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect. This green doesn't have to be perfect at all. We can go in if we want to make some lighter greens here for those colors. And even if I want to do more of a yellowy green. So we'll see. Color mixing is so much fun. So I have my greens, and let me just give you a great little tip here. I did not know this, but I found this out, that black and cadmium yellow will make a gorgeous green. So a darker green, more olive, almost black. But look at that. And so those are like all the tips that you learn when you go along. So I've done all of my color mixing, and I may need to mix up more colors as I go along. And the key, as I explain in the course, is to be very prepared. So this is a small painting, but if we want our paintings to come out where we can give them as gifts, give them to friends and family, hang them on our own walls, like my entire wall in the back there is hung up with these small moments of floral love, then we need to take the time to prepare just like anything. So I have all of my color, mixing colors here. I have the reference image right here, and you will get all the reference images that I use, plus many, many more. I think there's about 60 more. And then I have the drawing here. So as much as I want to adhere to the actual rose that I have here, I'm going to say it is perfectly okay to go out of the lines, maybe add your own touch if you see a different color in there that you would like to add. I love to create abstract flowers. If that's, you know me, and if you're in the course, then you love to create abstract flowers as well. So I don't need an actual replica of this rose because I already have the reference photo. So I am going to start. I am going to go in. First thing I'm going to do is, because these are acrylics and I don't have any medium in there, I'm going to wet them. I'm going to go in with, this looks a little pinky, but it is okay. So I'm going to go down. I might even add a little bit of the plum in here. And so this is what you do. So that's beautiful. Very light, kind of a very light touch. I like to go dark. Actually, this will eventually need to be a little darker. I'm going to move this over here. And so, as you could see, I'm kind of mixing in my colors. I don't want you to get, I'm not even cleaning my brush off here. I want you to kind of look at this and say, this is doable. This is not that hard. And I will come in and kind of reshape as I go along. But already you can see, and this actually might be a little darker. And you can use alizarin crimson, maybe even some quinacridone. Again, I'm not looking for perfection here. I have a little flat brush here. And let's just do this. And maybe even that little part, it kind of went off the page here. So there's that greeny part. And we're just going to ruffle this around a little bit. And then I will come in and kind of differentiate it more. My big educational word there. And make your strokes go up, like in the direction of the rose. So already you have the shape of the rose, some areas that are the darker areas. And I might have to come in here. That looks a little pinky. You know, just kind of trying to find that perfect color. And I think this is a little darker in here. Oh, I love that. So you can see I'm making it more of my own thing in here. All right, so I'm going to leave that just like that. We aren't finished by a long shot, but I want to just kind of come down here to the leaves. So I'm taking, now I don't want you to worry at all, I'm going to mix this in. I don't want you to worry at all if you've had too much coffee and your hand's a little jittery. And these are my greens, not necessarily the exact color greens that are in here. I tend to go a little, looser. A lot of times I'll use a palette knife, which I may or may not do. So I just want to come in here, kind of get this, you know, and I'm making it a little bit more green, but it's okay. It's okay. Add some white in here. Back to the green a little bit. And I tend to not go like super crazy on the leaves. Even though in this one, I use the black and yellow right there. See how beautiful that creates such a beautiful green. I'm going to keep that because I really like that a lot. We'll keep that in there. And I don't want to get crazy. So you could see I'm kind of moving around the painting a little bit. And my brush is getting dry, but sometimes that dry brush feel is pretty good. And bringing that in there. This isn't going to be perfect. I mean, it's a demo to just give you an idea of what's going on in the course. So you get a good idea so far. And I'm actually using the same brush here. So this is a light pink here. And I'm going to use that same pink around here. And I'm going to bring in some pink over here, not matching perfectly. I don't need to do that. Nor do I want to do that, actually. And I may play around with my palette knife. So sometimes it's kind of just going over it and saying, was that the right color? Kind of blending in the colors. And then the very edges of this is where the highlight comes in. So you want to get your edges, the very tip of your brush, very tip. And you want to kind of bring it around like that. I'm going to bring it up top here because you just definitely want that little bit of contrast. And I want to get in here with that pinky purple. And use your finger if you so choose. And this has a little bit of that yellow. Very lightly. See, I'm kind of basically not doing a lot. And I want you to see this needs to be even a little darker. I want you to see that it doesn't need to take you a long time to do something. It really doesn't. You've got this green here. I'm going to go in with a little darker green. And once I add the background, you're going to see what happens, because that kind of changes everything up a bit. And then this is the fun part for me. I'm going to take a little bit of this white. See, I'm just going to use my palette knife and bring that down like that. And then take the side of my palette knife and brought out this white in here. I teach you how to use a palette knife, so I don't want you to worry about any of this. And I might take the very edge over here. And I think I feel great about that. So now the next part, I will get to that in a minute. So while I chose to do a black background, I will teach you how to do all different kinds of backgrounds, and even how you can use some really wonderful apps on your phone or in other programs to, as you're painting, you may say to yourself, I'm not sure about black. I wonder if I could use a purple background, or I wonder if I could use a red background. So I'm coming in here. My brush felt a little dry. I'm not sure why. Just want to make sure. And so I'm probably partial to black backgrounds because I love them. And I just think that whatever you're painting really kind of stands out. And so this is the fun part, meaning if you want to make the shape of your rose a little thinner, like I just did, just come in with your brush and shape out. So I am going to put this on a little bit of a faster speed. Well, I have to say, coming in and around your objects can feel very zen-like. And this is where, when you're doing it, like for instance, here, if you want to make that a pointier edge, just come in and do that. Make sure, the big thing is, make sure that you don't get crazed about different things. This feels like it has a lot of white in it. And I just doing kind of very light brush strokes over here. And I'm even going to come up under here with my finger. I made that lighter than it was. It's okay. My interpretation. And with a thin brush with not a lot on it, you can kind of come in here. Now you'll notice I left on purpose a little bit of the hardwood panel showing underneath. And here's a little bit of yellow. Can even add some there. And so I changed this up. Actually, I removed it. Didn't even realize it. Didn't even realize it, but I did. So no big thing. And I have enough of the black mixture here. It's just black, actually. And this is what, you know, you're going to need to do. You're going to need to come in and fix some areas. And try not to get, like I said, super crazy. Because this is the part where, to be perfectly honest, is where you can get so obsessive that you're kind of losing the joy of your piece, right? And so just bring that down there, and you can continue to play if you want, but you really want to keep kind of a freshness in your piece. You want to keep a freshness and not make it so kind of heavy that you're not, that you've just overdone it, which is so easy to do. I mean, truly easy to do. And then you kind of come in and mess it up a little. And have to go in. But of course, once the camera's off, I can always fix it a little bit. And for our purposes, I really believe this is finished. I really don't want to touch this. It just looks pretty the way that it is. The only thing is, it looks like there's a little bit of right here, a little bit of light. And so there you have it. I'm going to show you what it looks like when it is adhered to the panel so you get the full effect. Well, here we are with the finished piece. Doesn't it look beautiful? So I took the time to adhere it to this 6 by 6 inch 6x6 by 1 5/8 cradle board that I buy from Da Vinci, and it just looks so pretty. It's still a little wet in some areas, and sometimes when you're painting your background with black, you might have to go over it just a couple of times, which I'm in the process of doing. And of course, what I try and do all the time is I try to varnish it. I use Liquitex varnish, a combination of the satin and the gloss, kind of like a half and half mixture to put on the painting. And if you forget to do it at that time, just make sure that you go around the edges here with some painter's tape so that you don't get any of the gloss on the sides. Now, what I have been known to do is paint the sides as well. So if you feel like, excuse my arm, if you feel like you want to do that, you can definitely paint the sides, the colors that are in one of the colors that is in your painting, and that also looks beautiful. Sometimes I just like to leave them with the birchwood. So I hope this gave you an idea of what is in the e-course, the way that I teach, the way that I explain my, conversational style with the students. I really want students to feel like they're sitting side by side with me. I don't want to leave any stone unturned. And enjoy this free tutorial. If you join the class, this will be in the class, because if you might have missed this, I want to make sure to include it in the rose section. Thanks again, everyone, and I hope you join me in small moments of floral love.